Welcome, everybody. We are in Sport Performance Secrets. I'm so happy today to have you here because we have an amazing interview. Today, we have Dr. Symeon Rodgers, and you will learn a lot of things. This is Sport Performance Secrets, and I'm Coach Al Kelbrin. I'm your host. I coach gymnastics for more than 40 years from the beginning level, all the elite level, and Olympians. I have 2 Olympians and 4 in World Championships. I'm so happy that I learned hypnosis and I learned a lot of things to control the emotions. First, I learned to control my ADD and the obesity I have. And at the age of 48, I learned how to control the power of cancer with my mind. And I'm helping other people to do the same. Today's interview is so special. It's very incredible because you will learn a lot of things to do and get better health and better control over your body. It's an integration between your mind and your body. Today we have Dr. Symeon Rodgers. And let me explain you one thing before we go into the interview to get the best from this interview for you. Number one, I want you to go to the web page for the interview for Dr. Symeon Rodgers. You go and you click into your browser and you put www.sportperformancesecrets.com/Gong. Is Qigong, Gong. And you will see right there, you will know you are on the right page because you will see the Dr. Rodgers picture and you will see that you're on the right page because you will see all the special offer and many things. I want you to go into the down of the page. You will see a square where you can communicate with us. Please, when you hear to this interview, send us any information you want to know, any question, everything. For us, it's important to be connected with you. Number two, it's a pleasure for me to announce you that we have a special gift for you. Dr. Symeon Rodgers prepared a special gift for you. He will talk about more in a couple more minutes, and then we keep going with this one. I'm so happy because I know you are an athlete who want to be in charge of every aspect of your training and every aspect of your preparation. You are on the right page and you are in the right place. Today we have Dr. Symeon Rodgers. Dr. Symeon Rodgers is a specialist in martial arts. He's the Chief Training Officer in the Global Resilience Solutions. And he's a best-selling author. He's all the personality you want to hear from one big person. Today, we have Dr. Symeon Rodgers. Welcome, Dr. Symeon Rodgers. How are you?
Hi, Coach Al. Thanks. I'm very well. It's great to be here.
I'm very glad that you are here with us because today we'll cover something really important for the athletes, the parents, and the coaches, especially for those kids who want to get involved in best performance. Today, we have something special. Dr. Symeon Rodgers will explain us something really unique. How do you call this when Dr. Symeon Rodgers is the 7 deadly spirals of disease?
Well, what we're going to talk about, Coach Al, is it's really the 7 deadly well, you can talk about the 7 deadly spirals of disease, but there's also the 7 spirals of power. And the 7 spirals of power and the spirals of disease are really the same. It just depends which way you use them, and we all use them one way or the other. We're all, in our life, we're always spiraling up or down. And it's always our choice, but we have to know what these spirals are and how to use them. And once we know that, they have huge applicability to athletic performance in particular.
Yes, you're right. It's very important to know for all the athletes who all the resources you have, you can go for good or for bad. And it's important for us to know how to avoid a lot of injuries because this is what stops more to the athletes. It's more than the mental blocks, the injuries who make big struggles. And you know, these techniques you are going to explain right now help a lot to avoid the injuries, to prevent it. And
yeah, that's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you can start to do this labor you're doing, this work you're doing, because everybody tried to make their knowledge, but nobody wants to go beyond the community they have. You are well known all over the world. What takes you to be over there?
Well, if I understand your question, I think that, I got interested in doing this some years ago, because I've spent my entire life really looking at martial arts and exactly what we're going to be talking about today, which is really Chinese Qigong and how it works, how the energy system works, and what it means for training, what it means for how you can achieve the kind of performance you really want to have. So that's a real key. I think to begin with, maybe I can tell you a little story, and it's an incredible story. It's back in China in the early 20th century, there was a guy named General Yang Shen. And Yang Shen was, a good and benevolent man, as warlords go, and he was passionately interested in the Taoist science of health and longevity. And well, he should have been, because the Taoists had consistently proven their capability of getting people to their 100th birthdays in great health, with flexibility, with mental acuity, with all of this. And anyway, in 1927, Yang Shen met a really incredible guy, a guy named Li Qingyun. Now, Li Qingyun was no ordinary man. He was a Taoist master and an herbalist. But here's the kicker. According to the official records of the Chinese imperial government, Li Qingyun had been born in 1678. So the guy was way over 200 years old, if you can believe it. And how would they know this, Well, the fact is, of course, the Chinese invented bureaucracy. This was thousands of years ago. And they had sent congratulatory messages to Li Qingyun on his 100th, 150th, and 200th birthdays, according to their official records. So Li Qingyun it was incredible. He, when people would go out for walks with him in the hills, people couldn't keep up with him. He was in great shape. At the apparent age of 249, he gave 8 3-hour lectures at a Chinese university precisely on medicine. And even the New York Times carried a story on this guy. This was back in the 1930s. And the whole question is, how did he get this way? Well, he transmitted his secrets to Yang Shen, and Yang Shen, after the communist takeover in 1949, Yang Shen moved to Taipei, to Taiwan, and he was still able to enjoy mountain climbing on his 98th birthday. So this stuff works, but what's behind it? This is the key. What's behind it? And let's go a little deeper. Most people have heard of Kung Fu. Right, the expression Kung Fu, which really in Mandarin, Kung Fu is really the expression Gong Fu. And well, so what's Gong Fu mean? People think it's a martial art, but that it means not at all. Gong Fu in a general sense just means any skill that you acquire through persistent training. So you can acquire Gong Fu in anything, whether it's martial arts or cooking or gymnastics. You can acquire, but in the martial arts world, Gong Fu has a very particular meaning. The meaning of Gong Fu in the martial arts world is inner power and solidity and resilience. That's what it means. So, if you say to a Chinese martial artist, I know so-and-so and he knows this or that style of Chinese boxing, they're not likely to be impressed. Their first question will be, okay, he knows the style, but does he have any Gong Fu? That means, does he have any internal power? Is he capable of harnessing the energies of the body-mind organism and using that power to achieve whatever he needs to, whether it's in combat or whatever else? That's what they're interested in. And what does Gong Fu enable you to do? Well, I mean, if you have any doubts, look at the Shaolin monks and see what they do. You can always go to YouTube and type in National Geographic and Shaolin, because the National Geographic Society did a beautiful documentary on the Shaolin a few years back. And there, you'll see what the monks are doing, and the trainees. They're not all monks, but you'll see what they're doing, and they're getting hit and punched and kicked, and they're getting hit with boards and bricks, and nothing's happening to them. They're perfectly fine. they're being impacted by blows that would kill most people, and yet they're not even injured.
Wow.
And then they're taking pieces of stone and smashing them, or they develop a grip that's so strong they can pull a nail out of a piece of wood. So how do they do this? Well, it's particular training methods, but really what's important is the energy behind those training methods, the fuel for the engine, if you will. And the fuel for the engine is what we call Qigong. So Qigong means energy skill. And Qigong it's a very broad term that applies to a whole lot of different types of energy exercises. And what these methods enable you to do is to cultivate optimal bodily health, optimal flexibility, optimal strength, and then you can focus it using certain types of training on whatever training result you desire. And this is a really interesting concept because, and it was there's a famous book called The 72 Arts of the Shaolin. And if you're a Westerner, like we all are, you would think the 72 Arts of the Shaolin probably talks about the techniques of Shaolin boxing, like, okay, how do you do this, and here are the punches and the kicks and whatever, and the tactics. Well, it doesn't talk about techniques and it doesn't talk about tactics. It only talks about one thing. It talks about the methods for acquiring Gong Fu. It talks about the Qigong methods that will enable people, first of all, and this is combat, remember, that's what they're training for, so because that's what their result is, that's what they want, they're using Qigong methods that allow a person to become invulnerable. So, in other words, your opponent can hit you all he wants, but nothing's going to happen. And on the other hand, your strikes become so powerful that your opponent cannot withstand them. So you become, in effect, the automatic winner. And so that's what they're focusing on. And every Chinese martial system that's properly taught begins with focus in this area. First, develop the inner power. First, develop the foundation. Develop that strong foundation of inner power, and then, only then, you teach people techniques. This was really driven home to me at one point. I was studying Tai Chi, the combat version of Tai Chi, the original style, which is the Chen style. And the master we had, who was from China and very, very good, the best I've seen personally, he said to us, back in China, we don't even allow people to see the forms, which is what most people here focus on. People here, we focus on the forms and we focus on the movements and all that stuff, right? He said in China, we don't even let them see that stuff. We'll take a guy and we'll put him in front of a punching bag or some equivalent, and he'll spend the first 6 months doing nothing but issuing power, just delivering power to an opponent who's not there. And he'll repeat the same motion over and over and over again, thousands and thousands of times. And then the master said to us, the fact is, any one of those guys in a competition, any one of those guys could throw any of you guys through a wall. You wouldn't stand a chance. And yet, all the intricacies of Tai Chi. The short form and the long form, and this and that. But which one of you is the one who really knows Tai Chi? The one who gets the result, or the one who just knows a lot of stuff? So, this is a problem as Westerners, because we tend to focus automatically on what we understand, which is gross physical movements. We understand that as Westerners. We don't understand the inner energetic technology that's being used, that's really delivering the result. And this is where this becomes so really such an amazing thing. Just to give you a little demonstration, here's one thing you can do. Hold up a finger and focus your mental attention on the tip of that finger. And ask yourself this: using only the power of my mind, what sensations are at the tip of my finger? What physical sensations are there? You can close your eyes while you do it, it's okay. But you want to arrive at an answer to that question, what do you feel? So what do you feel, Coach Al?
I feel tingling, and I feel the pulse of my finger.
Yeah. And a lot of people will feel that. You can feel that, you can feel hot and cold sensations, or other things like that, and it doesn't matter. What does matter is that using only the power of your mind you have detected what's going on at a remote location on your body, again, using only the power of your mind. You've detected what's going on at a remote location on your body. And you can be taught to detect that and even control that anywhere on or in your body. You can be taught how to do that. But it gets even more interesting. If we could hook you up to instruments sensitive enough when you're doing this exercise, we could prove to you that by focusing your mental attention on the tip of that finger, you change the flow of blood, the flow of oxygen, and therefore the flow of chi, or energy, to that area. Now, is that a good thing?
Wow, that's amazing. Because
Yeah.
I understand most of the Western, we cannot have a concept of what the energy is because we was not training. You know, in all the
Yeah.
sports, in every aspect of life, training is a clue.
Yeah. That's right, it's a key. And so what you've done here, think about it, you've actually changed your physiology using the power of your mind. Very important.
Exactly.
Now, one of the keys, and we're going to see this later, is you can do the reverse. You can do both. So to have a look at how this works and to get a sense of what these spirals of power are, here's another thing you can do. Take your mental attention, and you can close your eyes if you wish, it doesn't really matter, and focus your mental attention on your spinal column. And as you focus your mental attention on your spinal column, just gently move it a little bit side to side and feel the vertebrae moving. Just feel the
I can
different
feel it.
sensations. And then you
I
can,
can feel all the bones.
oh yeah, you can go a little bit side to side, you can bend a little bit forward, you can bend a little bit back at different places on the spine. And you really get the sense of this incredible pole of universal joints that the spine is. And it's very, very important to maintain and optimize the health and the flexibility of your spine. And how do you do that, or why would you bother? Well, first of all, you've got the central nervous system. So your central nervous system, which is a key to your performance, of course, runs up the spinal column. So you want to keep the spinal column as supple and functional as possible in order to protect the central nervous system. And then you've got the spinal fluid, which circulates through the column. So you need to protect that as well, because that's a key to mental acuity. And finally, one of your body's most important energy channels is what's called the governing vessel. And the governing vessel runs directly up your spine and over the head. And so for all three reasons, you want to protect the spine and keep it as flexible and limber as possible. Because, as we all know, if you ever injure your back, you realize, only at that moment, you realize that your spine is involved in pretty much every type of movement you make.
Yeah,
Right?
all
It's
the
almost
muscles
nothing.
involved.
Yeah. You can't even drive a car comfortably without your spine being involved. Right? You can't check your mirrors, you can't do anything, right? So
Nothing.
very important. So there are methods in Qigong training, there are methods that allow us to activate what's called activate the energies of the spine and move from the spine. Learn how to do a movement from the spine itself, so that the spine is initiating and controlling a movement. It becomes quite
Amazing.
amazing. In fact, you can even try it. I have a water bottle here, and what you can do is, if you have a water bottle or a coffee cup, for instance, just pick it up and pretend to take a drink. So just pick it up as you usually would and do that. And you can just pretend I didn't take the top off, so it's just easier, right? So you can do that, and then when you were doing that, though, when you do it as you ordinarily do, it's an isolated movement of your arm and shoulder, right?
Yes.
However, what we're talking about is a whole body movement. So there's a saying in Tai Chi, and they talk about the animal kingdom, and they say, when one part moves, all parts move. And so try it as a whole body movement. Just make sure every part of your body is involved somehow in the movement, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. So don't try to copy what I'm doing. It's more important to have your consciousness in your own body and just be able to feel it from the inside. So that's a whole
Incredible.
body movement, right? Then The next step, you can do the whole body movement from what we call the lower dantian. The lower dantian is your body's main energy storage area. It's in your lower abdomen. It's located just below your navel and about 1/3 of the way in from front to back. And most of your body's energy lines run through this area. It's a very powerful field of energy. And so if you allow that area to begin the movement, you'll have a different dynamic. So try that. So you're moving this time from the lower dantian. It's simply initiating the movement.
It's a different experience.
It's a different experience, yeah. And cultivating that area, the lower dantian, is very, very important for, in martial arts, it's considered extremely important because of performance, because it allows you to build energy, to retain energy, to refine energy, and then use it for athletic purposes or martial arts purposes. The next thing you can do is do the same thing, but this time allow your spinal column to control the movement. And again, it's a whole body movement, but it originates with your spine as you take a drink again. So try it now. Focus only on the spine, so the spine is controlling the entire movement.
Yeah.
You'll feel the vertebrae pull apart in certain places and come back together. In other words, what Chinese medicine refers to as the opening and closing of a joint.
Okay.
How did that feel?
Amazing. And I noticed one thing. You mentioned about the concentration in one part of your body, and you can monitor what happened right there. Usually, we pay attention to our parts. We have problems. Where we want to increase the energy. I have pain in my knee, and then it's when you put attention to your knee.
Yes.
But not when you really wants to put energy right there. That's it. Very important.
This is very important, right? Because what we're trying to do here is you're actually doing a few things when you do Qigong. One of the things is you're taking all of the tissues in your body, all of the tissues, through their complete range of motion on a regular basis. And this is really, really important because, for instance, if you have your arm, you want to take all those tissues through their complete range of motion. So that means the muscles, the tendons, the fascia that's between the skin and the muscles. You want to take all of it through its complete range of motion on a regular basis. Because in the human body, what happens is when you take the tissue through its range of motion, you're creating a therapeutic reaction. You're stretching it, allowing it to come back, expand, contract. This lubricates the tissue and allows for maximum performance. So for instance, if you just put your arm out and you can see that, if you just twist your arm a little bit and look at the tissues, right? Look at your arm. Depending on your build and depending on your skin color, you'll see different things. But you'll see tendons are very visible near the wrist. You'll see muscles under the skin, rippling under the skin. You'll see all this, so all these different tissues. And as you take the body through its complete range of motion, what's going to happen is that you're optimizing everything that moves through these tissues. And think about that. What moves through the tissues? Well, first of all, you've got nerves. And every time, you contract and expand that muscle, the nerve fibers that run through that muscle are being massaged. So they're really being maintained and upgraded in their function. The same thing happens to the blood vessels. So you're improving the circulation all through certainly through the muscle, but really all through the body as you take the body through its total range of motion. And this takes the burden off the heart, it lowers blood pressure, it allows the body to function much, much better. It also detoxifies naturally. You're detoxifying the cells as you continually go through these movements. So it becomes extremely important in order to when you're doing this. But there's other things going on too. Consider the joints. One of the spirals, we've talked about the spine as one of the spirals of power, because when the spine is in its optimal condition and fully energized, there's almost nothing you can't do from an athletic point of view, right? But there
Yeah.
also, you have to think of the other joints of the body as well, not simply the vertebrae. So the joints become very, very important because, of course, most of our joints are in the lower part of the body, and any impact to those impacts our mobility. So that becomes a real threat to our overall health and well-being. And in order to preserve joints, well, how do you do that? Well, obviously, you have to look after the tissues that connect to the joints, right? And this is where the Chinese medicine excels, because what they do, in the West, we're totally focused in the West on muscle. We want to build muscle, right? We're always focused on that. The truth is, it's actually more important to look after the strength of the tendons and ligaments, because tendons connect muscle to bone, ligaments connect bone to bone, and between them, it's those tissues that are really protecting your joints. And if your joints are impacted, then energy circulation, which partly takes place through the joints of the body, is going to be impacted. And when we say energy circulation, we're not talking about some weird new age idea. This is, we actually can verify your body has certain energy highways. These energy pathways are a type of, think of it as an information highway, where because there's communication going on all through your body all the time. Your nervous system is communicating with your cells, and that's communicating with your endocrine system. All your systems are linked, and your nervous system functions as an information highway, but so does your energy system. And you need to maintain these in perfect balance. It's one thing that's really interesting is we've recently concluded that the extremely rapid, sophisticated movements that athletes do, whether they're gymnasts, martial artists, ballerinas, or whatever, figure skaters, that those rapid movements actually happen too fast for our nervous system to handle them.
Yes.
Our nervous system runs at a relatively slow speed. There's nothing in our nervous system that would allow us to do these movements that we know of. So somehow it's a different information system that's allowing these rapid movements to be executed with such precision. So we have to take care of all of these information pathways. Now, to go back to that point about the vital importance of the connective tissue. Like you think of the connective tissue right at the elbow. So you've got the tendons linking the muscles to the bones, and then you've got the ligaments that are linking the bone to the bone. And it's learning how to take this tissue through its complete range of motion and do it in such a way that you're continually building its strength, its resilience, its health, and doing it in a way that's sustainable, because of course certainly a lot of our Western athletic endeavors put a huge strain on the body, and injury is common, and you see people can't continue in it when they're usually past the age of, depends, I don't know what it is for gymnastics, but a lot of sports, you get past 30, you're done, probably because you've been so badly injured so many times.
Yeah. Well, let me explain you one thing. I noticed after I was listening to you a long time ago, 6 years ago, the importance you give into the tendons and ligaments, I started to observe that most of the places with cheerleaders and gymnastics, they have a back injuries, except for my athletes. And what I attribute that, because you save my athletes for that, because we make always full range of motion, stretch. Flexibility is totally different than stretching. And that makes a huge difference in the back, because we compensate the muscles, not just working one way and extremely strong one way and not the other way. Yeah. That's why I noticed that most of the athletes has that problems. Back problems is this compensation of the muscles and the joints. And that makes me a good point for stop a little bit, because if somebody just start right now to listen to us, this is Sport Performance Secrets, and we're interviewing Dr. Symeon Rodger. This interview is about Qigong. You will understand everything at Qigong. If you just start to listen to us, don't worry, we'll have a repetition of this one. But first, I want you to go to the homepage from Dr. Symeon Rodger. Just type www.sportperformancesecrets.com and /Qigong. The way we write it is Qigong, and you will see right there Dr. Symeon Rodgers, and explore all the special offer, because if you hear this information is very important, you will start to master it with all the videos Dr. Symeon Rodgers has for you. If you see the special offer, it's tons of things very important for you, for your family. You love your dad, you love your mom, you want your dad to be healthy, to be strong. You love your coach, and your coach will be more strong if he learned all these techniques. And remember, we have a special gift. We have a gift for you. That gift for you came from Dr. Symeon Rodgers, and it's a mind and body integration exercises. It's special for you. And stay tuned, because he will explain you more about this one. And remember, we'll make this interview replay several times for you for 48 hours, and then tell all your friends, tell everybody, come to listen to this interview, because what is going to listen to Dr. Symeon Rodgers will change your life. I guarantee you. Okay, go back to you, Dr. Symeon Rodgers. Now, we keep going with what you explained.
Yeah, so we've talked about a little bit about the muscles and tendons, and it's one thing is very interesting, and that one of the oldest Qigong systems in the world is called muscle tendon changing. And it's a system. Yeah, it's a system that we do. I demonstrate it for you and guide you through it so you can learn it. Muscle tendon changing goes all the way back to the early days of the Shaolin Temple, when a Chinese or an Indian Buddhist monk named Bodhidharma came to the temple and discovered all the monks were basically fat, lazy, and would fall asleep when they meditated because they were getting no exercise. So he devised and taught them this muscle tendon changing. And what's the genius part of it is that you literally develop into a super resilient person through the use of muscle tendon changing itself as a system. And it's an incredible series of 8 exercises that's very flexible, because you can get. I have people who are 80 years old or more who are doing muscle tendon changing, so they can do it to their level of ability. And then I have people who are in their 20s, and for them, they can do muscle tendon changing in such a way that it's a killer workout that will have them begging for mercy. You can do that too. So it's a very flexible system. But the Shaolin monks have used it for 1,500 years as one of their primary training elements, because it simply turns you into a very physically into an extremely resilient person. It builds the health, builds the immunity, and builds that strength of tendon and ligament that you so vitally need. So that's just one example. But for now, I'd like to also switch topics a little bit, just to go on to something else that's extremely important. Qi, as a term, qi means breath, as well as spirit, as well as energy in Chinese. And so we usually translate Qigong as energy skill or energy work. However, since qi also means breath, and because qi, or breathing, is so integral to the process of developing energy within us as human beings, we have to talk a little bit about it. And most people in the West don't breathe properly. In other words, we don't breathe the way our human psychosomatic system is designed. We're breathing against how our body is actually built. So most people do chest breathing. If you want to experience chest breathing, and this is a bit of an exaggerated version, but you'll get the point, it's very simple. Yeah. You just, when you inhale, so you're going to take 2 breaths, inhale and exhale through the nose, and when you breathe in, your shoulders will go up and your chest will expand. Okay? And then the opposite when you exhale. Ready? So do your first breath. Inhale, shoulders rise, chest expands, and exhale. And do it one more time. Inhale and exhale. The shoulders go down and chest comes in. Yeah, now that's an exaggerated version of chest breathing, but most people do chest breathing all the time. And if you don't believe me, anytime you're in a place where a lot of people are sitting down, like a conference, a theater, even just on a bus or something, or a train. Watch people and watch how their shoulders go up and down. Watch how their chest moves when they breathe, and you realize this is what they're doing. And there are a few
Yes.
problems with this. We're going to go into some of them from a psychological point of view. One of the great problems is that chest breathing is associated with and makes you much more vulnerable to negative emotional states. Negative emotional states. If you find someone who is very wrapped up in a negative emotion, whether it's anger, fear, jealousy, anything like that, and they're getting so worked up that their breathing is getting higher and higher in the chest, have them breathe down deeply into the abdomen, and the emotional state will dissipate. It's amazing to
Yes.
watch. So
I
how
seen
is your...
that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I seen that in the babies. When you see a baby in the first
Yeah.
days, they breathe with the belly.
Oh,
They
yeah.
diaphragmatic breathing. It is the natural way, but as soon as we grow, we start to put pants and clothes very tight, and we start to miss learning the way to breathe. And
That's
this
right.
is very important, the breathing.
You're right. It's extremely important. Now, if you'd like to experience abdominal breathing the way the human person is meant to breathe, we call it normal abdominal breathing because there are different types of abdominal breathing. But for normal abdominal breathing, really simple. What I'd like you to do is just take your thumb, place your thumb on your navel so that the rest of your hand, your palm, is resting just below your navel against your abdomen. And you're going to take 2 breaths again. So again, we're going to 2 breaths, and in through the nose, out through the nose again. But this time, your shoulders and chest will hardly move at all. What will move is your abdomen. So when you inhale, your abdomen pushes outward, so it's pushing that hand outward. And when you inhale, it'll come back. When you exhale, rather, it'll come back. So to inhale, you push out. Exhale, you come back with the abdomen. So try it. First breath, ready? Inhale. Abdomen pushes out, and exhale. Abdomen comes back in. Second breath, abdomen pushes out, exhale, abdomen comes back in. And that's basic abdominal breathing. Or there's a variant of that I'll let you in on because it's kind of fun. This time, instead of, try 2 breaths, and this time, instead of just inflating forward so you're pushing your hand out, imagine that there's an inner tube all the way around your waist, and that you're inflating the whole inner tube all the way around your waist as you inhale. Try that. Ready?
Wow.
Breath number 1. Inhale, so your abdomen inflates all the way around, even at the back, and then exhale. One more time. Inhale, inflate all the way around, and exhale. Now, granted, we've been taking... Yeah, it's very different, and it's a different feeling. I often ask people when they're interviewing me, how did you find it? And the response I usually get is one of 2 things. Either they've trained in something like yoga or qigong or tai chi or something where they've learned this, so they say, oh, this is natural to me. But that's only maybe 10% of the people I talk to. The other 90% say, wow, it feels kind of weird. And it does. But it's the way your organism is meant to breathe. And so the more that you can convert your default breathing setting to this abdominal breathing, the more lung capacity you get, the more energy capacity you get. You breathe more easily. You'll tire less easily. And there are a whole bunch of other benefits too, because, as we've said, from a psychological point of view, this kind of breathing keeps you very calm and centered. That's one of its primary, most important benefits. This is why almost all ancient spiritual systems, certainly all the authentic ones, place such an emphasis on proper breathing. Because before you can sense anything spiritual, genuinely spiritual, you have to be deeply calm. But deeply calm is also the key to really high-level athletic performance, right?
Exactly.
Because, you think about it, when you're deeply calm, your rational mind is not engaged. It's not running the show. The rational mind is very slow. So whenever you want peak performance, you have to get the rational mind out of the way. And every athlete, comes to that point where they realize that's the case. In the martial arts, it's just, it's blatantly obvious. If you're thinking while you're in the middle of combat, you get creamed. But if you can allow the rational mind to relax and deactivate, and this can only be done through abdominal breathing, really. If you can do that, then your performance is much better because the rational mind isn't in the way slowing things down. You see this too in ordinary everyday things. Like think of typing on a keyboard. You can be zipping along, typing at a furious rate, doing incredible things, but then suddenly you realize how fast you're typing and you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? And then, yes, you crash and burn right there. So this is what happens with athletic performance. That's why the mental part and the integrating mind and body is so critical. And this is why Qigong has such an advantage, because it's designed from the beginning to reintegrate the mind and the body. So when you're doing Qigong, your mind, your mental attention is always inside your body. And, as we saw with the finger demonstration, that really increases your performance. It literally changes your physiology.
That's very important, because you mentioned now 3 very important things. Well, a lot, but the main things. One, where you put the attention. The other one, the movements you do. And the last one, the breathing. It's very important, the breathing. The first thing I learned in my life when I was obese and with ADD, I learned to breathe. My master Sobek told me, if you want to get out of that fat and that problems you have, you start to learn to breathe. And he's given me the 4x4, 4x2 exercises of breathing, and I integrate into my life. But this whole concept is very amazing, especially for those athletes who want to perform, because every time you are an athlete, you don't just go to the practice and that's it. You need to perform. You need to go, you need to get in front of the public and show what you train. And that's why it's important for us to check all the products Dr. Symeon Rodger put into the package. Just go over there and check 90% discount, all the techniques for Qigong, all the techniques that you cannot even imagine. Even if you know already Qigong, you will learn more from Dr. Symeon Rodger. I guarantee you, because I learned from him. I changed my approach with my gymnasts, and I saved a lot of injuries. And then you go to www.sportperformancesecrets.com/Qigong, you will see everything what is he offered right there. And the most important, the special gift will change your life. In the very moment when you finish this interview, you will start to practice, you will start to listen to that, you will start to see it because it's a video, and you will experience it, what Dr. Symeon Rodger is telling you right now. And one more thing I need to ask you, we have people who start to send questions, and before we go to the questions, we need to finish what you was explaining, because it's fascinating. I can hear you for hours and hours and hours, and it's hard to stop.
Okay, well, really, there's one main point to add. This is something to consider, and we've talked about a lot of the 7 spirals of power. We've talked about the spine, the joints, the muscles and tendons, the breathing. We've left out a couple. We've left out the fascia. The fascia tissue is, I won't spend a lot of time on fascia, but fascia is this layer of white, tough tissue that's between your skin and your muscles. It literally wraps your muscles and wraps all your organs on the inside. And with fascia, it's really, what's really cool about Qigong is it allows you to preserve the fascia. The fascia is vital for your posture, which we'll talk about in a second. And it's also vital because fascia, if you let it go, if it isn't lubricated properly, it will tear, and you get more athletic injuries. With Qigong, there are specific methods that allow you to bring energy in from the environment and pack it into the fascia layer of the body, which increases your immunity tremendously. But what I wanted to really talk about was the last of the spirals, which is posture. Posture is immensely important. What's perfect posture in the West? It's military posture, right? So it's standing at attention. And if you'd like to experience this, it's real simple. Put your legs together. Now, put your arms at your sides. Now, put your shoulders back, your chest out, your stomach in, and your buttocks out to the back as far as it can go.
Wow.
And how do you feel?
Trapped.
Trapped. It feels terrible. It feels like a straitjacket, and it is. Now, if you'd like to get into true human posture, the posture your body-mind system was designed for, let me navigate you slowly, one piece at a time, out of military posture. First of all, just keeping military posture, put your legs apart to about shoulder width. Okay, really simple. Great. Now, the next thing you want to do is relax your shoulders and allow them to drop. Allow your shoulders to fall forward. This will cause your chest will come in a little bit, and your shoulders will fall forward a little bit. Now, the next adjustment is critical, especially for athletes, because right now your pelvis is locked in a backward position, so your butt is sticking out to the back as far as it can go. What you want to do now, and there are two ways to do this adjustment. If you think of your pelvis as locked in a backward position, you can simply mentally unlock it and allow it to drop to a neutral position,
Okay.
which will ease the compression on your lower spine. Right, you'll feel your lower spine is a little bit happier with you right now. Now, if that's difficult, what you can do is rotate the spine again all the way to the back, or rather the buttocks all the way to the back. So your buttocks is all the way back the way it was in military posture, and then put it all the way forward. Tilt your pelvis all the way forward. Pivot it all the way forward, and then come back to about a middle position. And you're getting close now to true posture. Now bend your knees very slightly, just comfortably. And the final adjustment is to imagine that the top of your head is hanging from a thread that goes all the way up to the heavens. So you're hanging from the vertical in a very comfortable way. And as you think about this image of hanging comfortably from this thread attached to the top of your head, a curious thing happens. The muscles of your neck and shoulder will relax, and your chin will seem to maybe tuck in a little bit, but it's really the relaxation in the upper body that happens. And this, what you have just done, has incredible benefits and potential, because what it does is it allows the whole body to relax. So when you're in this posture and you've gotten used to it, your upper body will feel very relaxed all the time. Instead of feeling tight and tense, it'll feel very relaxed. And your lower body will feel very solid, very solid. And in addition to that, you've increased your balance, and this is a great one for athletes. You've increased your balance many times over. And mainly that's due to having changed how the pelvis is sitting. Once the pelvis is properly tilted so the tailbone is pointing downward, your balance is just so much better. And that's why it's a key to all types of martial arts to be able to have that pelvis tilted the way it's supposed to be. Because if you can't do that, you can't keep your balance. And keeping your balance is a key to pretty much any type of athletic performance.
I noticed that in beam, we in gymnastics, we do the beam exercises, and when the girls has a bad posture, just walking, I change that posture to something more natural, and when they go to the beam, they have a lot more balance.
Yeah. And that's natural. You can, what I tell people is, if you want to test out this idea of better balance, you could test it out on a bus or a train or something that's going around, that's turning or going around a curve or a corner, and just test it out there without hanging on to anything. Just change the pelvis, and you'll see how easy it is to keep your balance no matter what's going on. So posture becomes really important, of course, because it has a psychological effect too. It allows you to get into deep relaxation. In military posture, or the Western idea of posture, where we're always our shoulders are back and our chest is out, that's a very tense type of posture, just generically, and you can't really relax when you're in that posture. But relaxation is the key, and this is the strange thing, to really high levels of athletic performance. So the top levels of martial arts are incredibly relaxed. and it's all about deep relaxation, super deep relaxation. So the systems that are the most advanced as fighting systems, like Chinese internal martial arts, things like Tai Chi, Bagua, Xingyi, things like the Taijutsu of the ninja, even a modern system like Russian Systema, they emphasize precisely this deep relaxation.
And
But it can
relax.
only
Yeah.
be had through this posture and this breathing. Without that posture and that type of breathing, you can't relax. You're tense, and the energy is held too high in the chest and in the head.
I noticed one thing very important you mentioned is the critical mind. Most of the athletes fail in good performance because they have the critical mind. They try to do all the performance with the critical mind, and it's only a one small percentage for the power you have in your mind, because the subconscious mind is who create all this good performance. When you get into the zone, it's not with the critical mind, it's with
That's
the subconscious mind.
that's exactly the point, and you said it very well there. When you get into the zone, and as I said, you can get into the zone with something as everyday as typing on the keyboard, and it's when that critical mind interferes, you're out of the zone.
Yes.
It's like being a starship and your warp engine cut out. You're dead in the water. You can't do anything because the critical mind is very slow.
Yeah. And now it's time to listen to some of these people who sent some questions. I have here Jenna from New Zealand. She want to know if that works in her grandpa.
If it would work for her grandpa?
Yeah, the Qigong.
Qigong works for any age. It's just a matter of knowing how to apply it, but it does work for any age, for anyone who will do it. And this is why you see, very often you see, old people in China in a park, and they're doing Qigong or they're doing Tai Chi. Now, when they're doing Tai Chi, they're actually using Tai Chi as a form of Qigong. That's what they're really doing. So the Qigong part is the essence of it, and it can be done by people at any age.
Excellent. I have another question for one of my students who works with ADD, and it's Mackenzie from Oregon. And being multitask makes me weak, is what she asked.
Multitasking?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I mean, one of the things we teach to peak performers, I do a lot of coaching with peak performers, executives, people who need to be at their very best. And one of the most pernicious myths in our culture is that multitasking makes you more efficient. It doesn't. Focus makes you more efficient. Focus allows you to get things done. Multitasking is always a disaster.
I know that. I born ADD, and I want to do many things when I'm born, and I don't achieve nothing. Now I do one thing at a time, and it's a huge, huge difference. But now it's time to go to the gift Dr. Symeon Rodger has for everyone. If you go to the special offer, just click right there, that button. You already go to the Dr. Symeon Rodger special offer page. Go right there, and you will see in the bottom a square who says gift, and you put your name, you put your email address, and send. When you send, you will receive automatically that gift from Dr. Symeon Rodger. You need to start to see it. I'm fascinated for that one because don't worry, you don't have a partner to practice that exercises over there. You can do it by yourself. The idea is to integrate the mind and the body in one system, one exercise. And Dr. Symeon Rodger has tons of things to teach you. I learned from him for 6 years, and I cannot finish to learn from him. I apply everything I learned to my athletes because I know it's in their benefits. And now it's time for you to take action and go to this special offer and take advantage. It's only 90% off. It's 90% off, and you can save your grandpa, your grandma, you can save everybody because the entire family can do everything about their health. I'm so glad that Dr. Symeon Rodger is with us and teaches everything. And this is only a small portion of what he can teach you over the all the system he has. I'm so glad, Dr. Rogers, that you are dedicated to teach all those things who you learn over the lifetime. And I congratulate you because you are one of the most influential guys I ever seen in my life. Why? Because you teach with passion. You don't teach what you learn. You teach what you did, what you live. This is very important for me. That's why this interview is special for me. And any words, you recommendations to the athletes, to the parents, to finish this program?
Well, one of the things I'm often asked is, Al, is why I developed the Qigong system. You know, why I actually went to the trouble of doing the videos for the Qigong system for Rock Solid Health Qigong. And the thing is, I had a just so everybody's aware, I had a group of people. I was taking a group of people through a long developmental program, an overall personal development program, and I promised them some Qigong. And I went looking around I literally bought a whole bunch of DVDs, you know, and looked at a whole bunch of things on the internet. Can I find some Qigong I can put in the program or recommend to them? And I was astounded to find the quality of what was available at the time was really not very good at all. Because with Qigong, there are several things you have to know. Yes, you have to know the movements, whatever the movements are, that's all fine. But you have to know the breathing that goes with the movements. You have to know the mental intention that goes with the movements. Sometimes you need to know the energy anatomy and where certain energy lines are in the body. And if you're not teaching a person all the elements they need to know to do this, then you're not teaching them Qigong. You're just teaching them to wave their arms and do, you know, and move their body, and it's useless. It's stupid. I hate to say it, but you need the whole thing, right? So that's why we put the videos together this way, so that with each of the 5 Qigong systems, you're learning all the components that you need. And the 5 systems also are very important for what they are, because it's not just, you know, it's not just some sort of pleasant relaxation Qigong. Yes, it'll be pleasant and relaxing, but these are 5 specific Qigong systems that pretty much anybody with any serious experience in, say, Asian martial arts will recognize them right away. They'll know what they are. And they're classics that have withstood the test of time. And they're also, and this is part of the key too, these are the best ones for athletic performance, because these were developed by warriors for warriors. And
Wow.
so you have muscle tendon changing, the great classic from the Shaolin Temple. You have its close cousin, bone marrow cleansing. So muscle tendon changing, bone marrow cleansing. Then Iron Shirt being that amazing Qigong that makes the warrior invulnerable on the battlefield. The Taoists, however, developed it even further and discovered it had incredible health benefits. And it's one of the ones that gives people the strongest sensation from the beginning. Then there's what we call the self-massage set, which is one you can, you know, do in 5 minutes in the morning, and it will really wake you up, and it's literally an energy tune-up for the whole body. And then finally, there's the energy circulation Qigong, which helps to circulate energy through the body's 2 most important energy lines. So you're looking here at a system which takes some of the literally 5 of the greatest classic Qigongs and puts them there for you, but also explains exactly how to do them, which unfortunately is something a lot of people aren't doing. They're not explaining the whole thing, and it's very unfortunate.
And now you hear Rock Solid Health Qigong is a big thing for you, for your family, for your future as an athlete. And I'm so glad then you toned this program, because you can change your life with doing it. Because most of the people buy products, but they don't use it. They think because for the simple action to buy it, that will change your life. That will change your life. You need to see the videos, and you need to do it. You need to experience every part, everything you do over there, and every day. Like I do my 5 minutes massage every day since I hear first time Dr. Symeon Rodgers. I do my cleanse of the bone marrow. I do everything, and I feel great. I feel empowered to control the kids and to help, especially the ADDs. Is the main program I have. Besides the athletes who compete in high level, I help a lot of kids with ADD. I'm so glad that you help us today to understand better Qigong, and you take your time and all your imagination to do the best for these kids. Thank you so much, Dr. Symeon Rodgers, for joining us, and I cannot wait to interview again and do something else with you because you're amazing.
Well, thank you, Coach Al. You're very kind, and it was an honor to be here. And I have huge respect for your audience because I know it's an audience of people with discipline and who apply things that they actually learn. You know, they will actually do it.
Thank you so much. And for you, remember Rock Solid Health Qigong. Just go to the www.sportperformancesecrets.com/Qigong and take action. Don't forget your gift. Thank you. This is all for now, and I can't wait to see you again. See you.